Hey everybody, I'm Ada Wells, and behind me is Puerto Vallarta, and I wanted to introduce to you today I think one of the most interesting models of giving back and being a win-win situation, and it's the American English Tree Institute here in Puerto Vallarta. Tell me who you are. Tell me how this got started.
Okay, well, my name is Edison, like Thomas Edison, Edison Rodriguez. And when I first came, I was actually born in Mexico City. I moved to the States when I was 9 years old, and then I went to high school. Once I graduated high school, I joined the U.S. Army. I did 10 years in the U.S. Army. Once I got out, I came back to Mexico. When I came back to Mexico, I realized that there was a huge need for an English school, and most of the schools around, they actually, I noticed there was something was not right. There was a lot of kids that can't afford school. There's a lot of people that can't afford English classes. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what, I'm going to teach English for free. And I started at my house with 2 kids. I started teaching them English. Then 2 kids became 4, became 8, became 16. I remember the magic number was 19. Once I got to 19, I decided to open up my own school. And then as you can see around, now we have around 60 people, 60 kids that we're teaching English to. And we have over 100 students. And what we're doing is we're getting people that can pay for English classes, and every time they pay for that, they sponsor a kid. Then we decided to teach Spanish, and for every foreigner that takes Spanish classes, they also sponsor a kid. So I'm actually using the money for people that can afford English classes and Spanish classes to sponsor all the kids that we have here today.
Yeah, I think that's a really fabulous model because it allows us to give back. And then do you have the people who are taking, the foreigners who come in to learn Spanish, do they come in and volunteer and help out?
Yes, that's another wonderful thing that we have. We have I call them multicultural events. Once a month, we have a get-together, sort of like a potluck, and I get all the Spanish students and all the English students together, so they kind of hang around and they practice both languages. And then I have a lot of Spanish students that come here during the week and help me teach them English. That way the little kids get to practice their English. Yeah.
And how long do the students end up being in school here?
We don't have a definite time. The longer they can stay here, the better. We have a lot of students that have been here since the very beginning, since we opened up the school about 7-8 months ago. I think you talked to them a little while ago, where they're getting their English going, and there's always new kids coming in. What we do is I went and talked to the director of the Department of Education, and I actually asked him, send me your students with the highest GPA in all your public schools that can't afford English classes, and I will teach them English for free.
Mm-hmm. And then you do also work, I think you mentioned you worked with some local charities and shelters. Yes. And things. So what are you doing with them?
Well, we're working with 10 nonprofit organizations, and every time they all the volunteers that have to deal and talk with foreigners, we teach them English for free because they're actually helping the community. So I'm helping them help the community. Mm-hmm. And we're doing the best that we can to make Vallarta a better place, and we're actually giving everybody a fighting chance.
All right. So just start by telling me who you are and what your role is here.
Okay. Well, my name is Denise Burrows, and I've been the director here since basically we started the school. And I got involved basically because I love living in Mexico, and I know I needed to improve my Spanish, and the best way to do that was to get involved and volunteer and become more of a part of the community. So my goal was to figure out how I could learn and give back something kind of out of respect and an appreciation of what I've come to love here in Vallarta.
And what is your role here now? What do you do? How much involvement do you have?
Well, that really varies quite a bit. I will do all the professional classes. So in other words, if you're in an insurance business or you're in any kind of investments, any type of professional need that you have, then I'll be the one that will be working with the professional vocabulary, and not only vocabulary, but also it's about culture. There are certain things that we would never say in English or that we would never say in Spanish, vice versa to each other, and it's a cultural thing that we need to learn. As an example, I would tell my English students, never use mañana when you're speaking to foreigners, because automatically they're going to think that means tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And so that's a real big cultural difference that we have. So those are important things to learn, not just vocabulary and how to form a sentence.
And then what was your background before you came down to move to Mexico?
I was actually in retail and I had a technical training school.
Awesome. And then how did you meet Eddie? How did this...
I was really looking for somewhere to volunteer, and I was looking to kind of fill that need. I started teaching a little bit of English, and then I realized, oh, this has to be done in a different way. You can't sit by the river and teach English, or you can't do it. You really have to have a structure to do it so that it really works well.
Yeah.
So I was actually looking for him. He just started the school a couple weeks prior, and so I got involved with him in that way.
That's great. And then how much time do you spend here?
Like I say, that depends. There's times when I'll be here 3-4 days a week, and there's some times when I'm here just on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on what the need is, what level of English is that people are needing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to obviously grow to a certain level before they're intermediate. That's kind of where I start teaching, is intermediate. And then I do advanced English, advanced business.
And then how can some of us get involved? Because I know there's a lot of people that come down for maybe a week, a month, several months, or...
The best way you can get involved is to sponsor a student. And you can either sponsor a student just by donating for someone that you know, or if you don't care who it is, just donate for a student. You can also take Spanish so that you can start to learn how to really assimilate into the community. And by your signing up to take Spanish classes, then you're automatically sponsoring someone that would never have the opportunity. And there's so many people that are being held down in their jobs. They just can't get to that next level of pay because they don't have sufficient English.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Great. So, and then if for those who maybe are not down here kind of on a more semi-permanent basis or permanent basis, and so they can sponsor. How about for people who are coming maybe for a couple weeks at a time? Is this a school?
Well, like I say, I mean, you can either, if you have a maid or if you have someone that you would love to see advance themselves, then make a donation. It's all on our website. You can donate through PayPal, and so that really is the most efficient way to do it.
Great.
Of course, we do appreciate any kind of supplies people want to give, but really, we can make do with what we've got. We just really need funds to hire more teachers.
Right. Perfect. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much.
You're
it was
welcome.
really great
Pleasure.
seeing you. All right. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about you, what you're doing here, and.
Ok. Hola, ¿cómo estamos? Mi nombre es Ulises, trabajo en la escuela American English 3. El día de hoy vamos a explicarles la importancia de ser una empresa socialmente responsable, ya que apoyar a nuestros pequeños que no tienen recursos para poder estudiar inglés es muy necesario para todo nuestro Puerto Vallarta, no nomás para Puerto Vallarta, sino para el mundo entero. Por ello estamos ahorita transmitiendo y comentándoles que estos pequeñitos, ahorita que están en su receso, pues están divirtiéndose. En un ratito más vuelven a ingresar a sus clases. Como empresa sí les pedimos de favor que nos apoyen a generar recursos para que estos pequeños sigan estudiando, no se queden sin hacer algo productivo y pues para el día de mañana, para su futuro sea muy bueno, ¿sale? Entonces, como American English 3 te pedimos que nos apoyes y pues que te unes a la causa, cambiando vidas.
Before. Yeah. And how do people find out about you? Where do they look you up?
Well, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us Probably just Facebook. We really haven't. It's all word of mouth.
It's word of
Yeah,
mouth.
word of mouth. Yeah.
And what is your biggest challenge that you're having right now with the school, with trying to get people to know about it? Is that a challenge for you, or?
Probably our biggest challenge is getting people to know us, because we always have kids coming in, always, and sometimes we don't have. Every once in a while we're so full we don't have an extra classroom, we don't have chairs, we don't have tables, and there's always kids, kids, and they're so smart, they're so freaking smart, and it's a little bit difficult to actually look at a kid and say, I don't have a chair for you right now, so why don't you sit on this box for now, and then we'll get it going. But they're very enthusiastic, they're very excited, and I think our biggest challenge is that, and maybe volunteers. Every once in a while, we kind of like need volunteers. They get really excited when they see a foreigner and they get to practice their English.
Yeah. How often, when you talked about the multicultural events, or when volunteers come in, does that happen? How often does that happen?
We do that once a month. Once a month, I get all the kids together, all the English students together, and all the Spanish students together, and they get to practice what they know. I usually set up a group of 6-7 kids and one volunteer, and said, all right, you guys got 5-10 minutes to get to know each other. Then I switch the volunteers around to another group. That way they all get to interact with a foreigner.
Do you have sometimes the foreigners just want to drop in to come in and help? Do you enable that, or do you like them to?
We welcome everybody to that can come here and help the kids, or help all the students speak English. We have a few volunteers that actually want to come here and just do that. They just want to help.
Yeah.
But we could use a lot more, because we have a lot of students.
Yeah. So if we could get more volunteers to come in, just even on a more regular basis, just to even probably just to be out here on a recess.
That would be awesome. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Just right now, as you notice, we only have a couple of teachers watching the kids. We have volunteers. Those 2 girls over there, they're actually English students, and they picked up English quick, and then they want to help us help the students, so they're volunteering as teachers. They're to help them. Yeah,
that's great.
And that's really cool. So we have a lot of students that actually come volunteers.
What's your overall big vision for what you have here? What you're
My
creating?
vision here is to give every student a fighting chance in Puerto Vallarta, because Puerto Vallarta, as you know, it's a city where we depend on tourism, right? Which means they need English. We need all the students to learn English, because most of the jobs require English. Yeah. So that's my goal, and my goal is to have probably 100% sponsor kids. We keep working together with a lot of organizations. We keep working together with a lot of schools, and there's so many kids that have that what do you call it? The ability to learn English. They have their high GPA. They want to learn. They're excited. They actually want to learn English. They want to learn English. And if you talk to them and if you hang out with them, you can see them. They get really excited about learning another language. And all our volunteers and all our teachers, we see that when we want to give them that. And I guess I wish I could help everybody. I wish I could help everybody.
What events do you have coming up?
We have an event coming up on February 24th. It's a fundraiser, so we could get funds to sponsor more kids in different schools. It's last year we had an event and it was actually really successful. We had about 300 tourists show up, and this year, this February, we're looking to have at least 500 students, 500 tourists show up so we can sponsor more kids. Last year's event, we were able to sponsor 10 different organizations, and we were able to give 60 scholarships to different public schools. And this year, I'm hoping that we can get. I want to get to 100.
Yeah.
I want to sponsor 100 more kids. Yeah.
That's
That's
excellent.
that's the event that we're having on February 24th.
That's excellent. Well, you're doing great work here. Thanks so much for everything you're doing.
Oh no, thank you guys for coming, and thank you for volunteering, and thank you for letting everybody know what we're doing here.